The holiday season is well and truly upon us. The fires are lit, cocoa is in the air, and my bank account is suffering from having to buy presents for everybody. But with all that festive cheer comes the release of a new wave of Christmas-themed movies, and we have all sorts of examples upcoming. We have Richard Curtis's animated film coming out at the beginning of December, but to ignite the candles of Christmas a little early, Disney Plus released a interesting little short called An Almost Christmas Story. Now this is a charming little short film that doesn't really seem to be gaining any kind of traction, despite being on the front page of Disney Plus when I booted it up this morning. I also made a little video about it earlier in the month on the trailer, and yeah, it very much underperformed, as has the actual official trailers over on wherever I've seen them on YouTube too. By all accounts, this seems to be the underrated yet charming little Christmas short that's either a little bit too early or, I don't know, just has that aesthetic that doesn't get clicks. And it's a real shame because this little movie that we have here, it's kind of wonderful. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it is very well made. It's just a short little charmer that warms your soul with every passing frame, you know? The story follows Moon, a small owl living in the forest, as all good stories start. He's your typical protagonist for this kind of film, a heart of gold, but reckless. Very naive and very young. He's got the biggest, most adorable eyes of anything I've ever seen this year, and a voice that just screams innocence. It's kind of has that Lucas the Spider vibes, you know what I mean? He's just a little guy. But in his recklessness, that then lands him in trouble as he's attacked by a hawk, breaks his wing, and ends up taking shelter in a tree, waiting for his father to come and collect him. This tree is then cut down and transported to the Rockefeller Plaza in New York City, where it becomes the Christmas tree stationed there during the winter months. It's then up to Moon to navigate New York City and find his way home. Like I said, nothing really groundbreaking here, but it is very loosely based off of a true story. Truth be told, the owl just popped its head out, someone noticed it, they rescued it, and then they returned it home in real life. You know, there's not really much there for a story, but Disney at least could run away with it. And run away with it they did. The creative team of David Lowery, Jack Thorne, and Alfonso Cuarón thought differently and created this very story that, whilst very simple, is excellently executed. I mean, the very first shot we see is the tip of the tree, and you can tell straight away that they've just tried to make it look like artificial trees on purpose, with its wiry branches and glossy needles? Leaves? I don't know. I didn't listen in biology. Or would this be more of a geography question? Anyway, I cannot talk enough about the art style for this movie, which is also unique in its own way. It's perfectly illustrated in the first shot we see of New York from Moon's hiding spot, where the animators have created this wonderfully handmade papercraft feeling for the movie. The high-rise buildings of New York are all made from boxes, you know? Taxis are built out of corrugated cardboard, and all of the animals that we meet are wooden creatures. Even the people, unless they are a significant character, are just 2D cardboard cutouts, with no facial expressions or actual animation other than moving across or flipping around occasionally. There are 2 characters that are animated with full 3D models, but even they have this marionette puppet feel to them. It's just really refreshing to see a unique art style, which is something that Disney shorts very much have the ability to express themselves with, as opposed to oftentimes the mainline Disney movies, you know? The director, David Lowery, acknowledged that this was very much a conscious choice, coming from making movies with his dad back when he was a kid, using cardboard boxes to build cities. Originally, they wanted to make the movie live action, using a bit of puppetry and CG for the owl, but the cost of filming in New York and the scope of the script prompted Lowery to switch over to an animated style instead, considering stop motion before ultimately landing on CG. However, the CG still has this stop motion feel to it. I mentioned the cardboard cutout background characters already, but even the movements of those more important characters have that stop motion frames of animation feel to them. They even made real life puppets as references for these 3D models. And can I just say, it's nice to see people just actually embracing animation and just the format, you know? Other directors might well have compromised the script to fit the budget or canned the project altogether, but here they've used the animation to tell the story how it was meant to be told. And, you know, I just wish more people would do this. Hey, you're halfway through, come subscribe if you haven't already. And from there, let's get back to the rest of the review. At a time when, during this same Christmas season, we have Coca Cola releasing fully AI-generated content, it's nice to see Disney and a small department of it actually showcasing the flourishes that such an artistic industry can provide. Also, on that whole AI front, I found out there's way more AI footage from Coca Cola than I originally thought. I shouldn't really be surprised, it probably cost no extra dollars to make, but there it is. But back to An Almost Christmas Story, there's just something about this rustic, thrown together aesthetic that just is the perfect fit for Christmas. The real spirit of Christmas. Boxes piled up on top of each other, being used as cities and trains, just gives it this whole feeling of being concocted in the imagination of a child. And that really is just quite beautiful and masterfully done. So let's talk about the main character Luna for a bit. Lots of moon imagery in this, of course. One of our more three-dimensional characters, she's the one who finds Moon on the ice after he tumbles out of the tree. The two bond after getting lost on the subway, and they both end up lost in New York City trying to get home in time for Saint Nick to pay his visit. It's also revealed that Luna has a prosthetic leg, which is just great to see some representation in a film clearly aimed at a younger audience. It's now on Disney to start rolling this more positive representation into their more commercial products. We'll see. They even cast a voice actor in Estela Madrigal who also has a limb difference, so more props to the representation from the casting director there too. The supporting cast are some of the more well-known people. We've got Natasha Lyonne as a wisecracking New York street pigeon who is the leader of a gang of birds that seems to have taken a page out of the Finding Nemo seagull playbook, constantly screaming for food. You also have John C. Reilly in a more mystical role, serving as a kind of narrator and folk singer that seems to be ever present in the background. It's a fairly common trope that we see in Christmas films like this, and I don't think there's anything more magical to him, like secretly being Santa Claus or anything, but he is a wise figure that asks questions about what makes a Christmas story, so there's that going for him, I guess. The ensemble of voice actors completely understand the storybook feel that this film has going for it. It really is just like a wonderful little 22-minute long slice of Christmas. But nonetheless, it still seems to be incredibly undernoticed. My main worry for this film is that they released it just a little bit too early, I think. I don't know about you, but I'm not 100% quite fully ready for Christmas just yet, you know? And I like Christmas, don't get me wrong, I love it, but like, does it not feel weird to start watching Christmas movies mid-November? Maybe that's just me. Even without seeing it firsthand with my trailer analysis and seeing how few views the official trailers for this short gets, it does just feel like this is gonna get buried under all the holiday content that's coming out afterwards. So I take this as more of an opportunity for me to platform something a little bit undernoticed. Consider adding it to your watch list. It's just a nice little slice of life for 22 minutes. It's just wholesome and a spark of the spirit of Christmas that I so far haven't seen this year. Not because it's the first, but because its alternative is Coca Cola right now. Visually, it's cute. It's not attached to a major IP. It's one of these smaller but more artistic creative departments of Disney. And honestly, with a title like An Almost Christmas Story, I think it's trying to go so extremely normie that it gets undernoticed. It's like A Christmas Carol. You can't just repeat the success of A Christmas Carol by having such a vague title anymore. We're almost a quarter of the way into the 21st century here. But anyway, that's my thoughts on An Almost Christmas Story. A cute little thing that's worth looking into. At the very least, it might be a small spark, but it certainly brings the warmth of the true Christmas spirit. For now, though, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this little review. Do let me know your thoughts on this short. Is it too early for Christmas movies? What do you think? And I shall see you in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.